This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by the Intake Academy. Do you know how to cement relationships with more of your ideal clients, get them to commit to you, and send you more referrals than you ever thought possible? Visit www.intakeacademy.com, where you will get the strategies you need to make the most of your marketing and advertising dollars. Plus, develop a team of intake specialists and attorneys who convert more qualified case opportunities and build meaningful relationships with prospective clients. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hey, hello everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Chris Mullins Tells All. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about intake self-care. So I pretty much have like an intake self-care system that I talk about a lot with my clients and my students. And we have an intake self-care chatbot that you can type in. Intake can basically type in while they're on a call, or before a call, or after a call, questions about their own self-care or stress, especially as it relates to a call, and basically get coaching from that chatbot. Now, I'm going to look away because I'm going to be looking at my notes. I'll be looking down. I'll be looking over to my right. I've got notes on my desktop. This is just very informal. I'm just going to talk to you about self-care for intake specialists. Okay, so I believe that self-care begins before you even get into the office. Okay. And I'm gonna talk about that, but first I'm just going to talk about steps, tips, things that you can do as an intake specialist to take care of your self-care. Take care of yourself, I guess you could say. So let's see, the thing that you want to pay attention to is your tone of voice, your body language, empathy. Are you providing empathy? And is it something that you typically provide? I know we like to think that everybody does, but not everybody does. So are you providing empathy? And your question is, the main reason you're asking that question to yourself is if you're not, and you usually do, that's a sign that you need to give yourself some self-care. I mean, self-care, you want to do that all the time, personally and professionally, but right now I'm talking about intake specialists, mostly right now with regards to your getting ready for a call, you're on a call, or after a call. And then we'll elaborate on other areas of self-care as well later, but that's for right now. So let me do this. I'm gonna look at some of my notes here and try to give you some practical things that you can do. So the first thing is you want to notice while you're on a call, or even before a call, certain habits, behaviors, triggers, feelings in your head, in your body that you get. And most of us get all kinds of triggers and warnings and red flags internally about this, that it's time to take care of yourself. It's time to do something different because you're about to sound like you don't care about the prospective client you're talking to at all. So let me just look at my notes here. Okay, so here are some things. Signs of tiredness. And so these are signs of things that you can watch for to remind yourself, I have to do something about this right now. So signs of tiredness, yawning frequently. Now, I just said yawning, I was about to yawn. Yawning frequently. So yawning often is is a sign of being tired. There's a study that it's not just about that, but we're not going to get into that right now. Okay, so difficulty concentrating, finding it hard to focus on the conversation. That will be another. Slow response times, taking longer to respond or find the right words. So again, these are indicators, red flags, warnings. It's kind of like a tap on your shoulder. You're tapping yourself on your shoulder, say, hey, if these are happening, it's time to do X, which we'll talk about to take care of it. But first you need to identify it. Heavy eyelids, like they're hard to keep open. Monotone voice, so speaking in a flat monotone way, and I talk about it in my book, Intake Specialist, The Unsung Heroes of Law Firms Worldwide. I talk about singing, how you want to sing while you're speaking to a prospective client. So if you have a monotone voice, if it's flat, or if you sound like license and registration, it's kind of like you're not really even present. So those are signs and red flags for you. Okay, so I guess the first part would be more signs of recognizing when you feel tired. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about signs when you recognize that you feel stressed. So rapid breathing or heart rate. I would think of that also as anxiety. Feeling your heart rate kind of like going fast, or you feel like you need to take deep breaths often. Tense muscles, noticing tension in your muscles like your neck and your shoulders and your back. Even your wrists and your arms and your hands and your fingers, okay? Sweating, becoming aware of sweating, even if the environment, like the office area where you're sitting is cool. You feel like you're sweating. Even if you're not like sweating, like when you touch yourself, you can still feel it internally, that sensation as well. Feeling overwhelmed, okay, unable to, I guess you could say, manage the pressure you're in the middle of, maybe even feeling like this isn't a pressure moment for me, but I'm feeling like it is, okay. Irritability, getting easily annoyed and frustrated. That happens to me a lot. Years ago, it used to happen a lot. It went away, and then it started to come back. But we won't get into that. Okay, so one piece I talked about is recognizing the signs. I call them warning signs, red flags of being tired, because that will affect before, during, and after calls for intake specialists. Signs of like stress, talked about that. And now I mentioned anxiety, but I'm looking at my notes here. I'm just going to kind of go over like signs of anxiety. Racing thoughts, or self-talk, talking down to yourself. You're distracted. You can't stay focused. You're constantly jumping around. And I know that some of us have like attention deficit disorder, that kind of thing. So it's like a separate issue, and hopefully, you're taking care of that to help you. But still, racing thoughts, feeling restless, feeling like nauseous or butterflies in your stomach, or even like in your throat, like if your palms feel like they're sweating, that kind of thing. Also, feeling nervous, difficulty breathing, which we already talked about, like short and shallow breaths, dry mouth. That's something I get. So dry mouth, noticing that you have a dry mouth or a dry throat. Okay, so we talked about a list of warning signs, red flags for feeling tired, for stress, signs of stress, signs of anxiety. And so Right now, I'll talk about signs of loss of interest, and then there's a bunch more, but I kind of want to just get into some solutions, things that you can do on the spot. And then, we'll continue in the next Chris Mullins Tells All. Okay, so this is a really big one. Signs of like being disinterested. So usually you're really interested in the prospective client. You feel like you're in the call, like we talk about in training programs. You're focused, you're present, all of that, but now you feel like you're not interested. So that would be like if you're feeling distracted, like your mind is wandering, like into other things or unrelated to the conversation, like you're not even there with the person, you're thinking about something completely different. No enthusiasm, so no sense of urgency or emotions in the call with the prospective client. You're constantly checking the time. Okay, like how much longer is this going to take? Like you're constantly looking at your watch. And again, this is also before the call. This is during the call. This is after the call. You're not engaged at all. Okay, you're not engaged with the person that you're speaking to. And then, before the call would be as if you're not engaged with your teammates, and typically you are. Okay, you feel bored. Like you just feel bored with the moment, the communication moment that you're having with that prospective client. And again, before, during, after, before you're not talking to a prospective client. So you can cut and paste this in multiple ways. All right. But it's all about intake self-care, intake specialist self-care. Okay. Let's see. I am going to, okay. Right now, I'm going to give you some things that you can do that are practical that you can do. And now I want to say that I know the things that I'm talking about, some of you probably relate to it and you know it, and it might seem like kind of basic, but the truth is these are the answers. These are the things that you can do. These are the practical things you can do as an intake specialist while you're on a call, or before you get on a call, or after you get on the call. Okay, so don't poo-poo them. Just if you're not doing them on a regular basis, then it's worth doing, even if you think you already know about it. Okay. So here's the ways that you can manage. Take breaks. Take regular breaks. If you're allowed to have breaks, if you get breaks, take your break. Do it. Just take your break. And on the same token, when you get your lunch break or your dinner break or whatever you're calling it, take it and get away from your desk. Don't eat at your desk. You've got to take care of yourself. Those are some ways to do it there. Another way to take a break, and we talk about this often in training, and with the 5 steps that we talk about in training, for those of you that are in the training that we do. I also talk about it in my book, The Unsung Heroes. But you can take like even a 30-second reset or a 15-second reset break. Kind of like a meditative moment, kind of like a speed bump, a pattern interrupt before you, so you're on the phone with somebody and maybe it's even a stressful call, or maybe you just are feeling all the things that we just talked about and it's not about the caller. You can do different things. You can just in your head count to 10. The act of thinking, oh, I'm going to count to 10, that'll help me take a little mental break, and then actually counting to 10, just that process there will help you take that break. It will help remove you, for 10 seconds in that example, or maybe 15 seconds from that moment. But you have to be in the mindset of, I'm going to identify every day, all day long, if I feel any indication of any of these things. And when and if I do, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the strategy list, go to the solution list of ways that I can manage these feelings. So take mental breaks, take physical breaks away from the desk, take your lunch breaks, your supper breaks, do the breaks. And again, it can be 10-second resets. It can be 13-second resets. It can be 30-second resets from one call to the next. Come up with creative ways to take breaks, okay? That can also include the breathing. It can, while you're on the phone. So you're doing an intake and the person is answering all your questions. You can count to 10 or 15 to yourself, kind of like to reset yourself from all the different feelings and emotions that are going on. You can breathe in, out through your nose, out through your mouth. They're not going to be like, whoa, I hear you breathing. You can do that. You don't have to do it like, you can just go, or, okay, so you can do that. You can also do tapping. Some of you might know of a strategy for tapping, and you can just tap your fingers on your desk. You can just, maybe tap your face. You look up what tapping is all about, but even if you didn't know what it was about, you could just do it. You're in that state that we're talking about, the stressful state. You want to provide some self-care for you, period, but also for the moment, so you can do a bigger and better job with the person you're speaking to. You can just tap on your desk, tap on your face. The act of saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to do X, tapping, to help relieve the moment I'm in right now. And then you actually do it. Just that alone will help diffuse how you're feeling, will give you more self-care. And then the whole idea that this is all self-care, it's a win-win, because it's not always a question, well, did it work? It works. The first phase of it working is recognizing you need to do it, deciding what it is you're going to do when and if you need to, and then doing it. And then that right there helps the results that you get. Okay, so you could do tapping. So and the breathing, you can do box breathing. So box breathing is you take 5 breaths in with your nose, and you count to 5 and then 5 out. And then you do it again and again and again, right? And so you can do that, okay? And again, like I said earlier, I'm going to expand more on all of this even before you get to the office for intake specialist self-care. But I'm trying to give you some practical things right now that you can do in the moment, okay? So take those breaks. Take the physical move away breaks. Take the mental breaks, the emotional breaks. Do the breathing. Do the 10-second reset, the 30-second reset. Do the tapping. Stay hydrated. Just drink your water. And if it's not going to be water and something else, other than tonic, because that's probably not the best thing to, it does hydrate you, but it's probably not the healthiest thing for the jitters and things like that. So drink your water. Just keep staying hydrated. You'd be shocked at how easy we get dehydrated. I learned that when you wake up in the morning, you're dehydrated from the entire night from sleeping. And so I'll have a glass of water with lemon in it and sea salt. And then I just started adding cayenne pepper, because it gives me a little kick, but I read that it helps open up your blood vessels. So you have that glass of water the first thing in the morning because you wake up dehydrated. So anyway, so stay hydrated. Just keep your energy up by drinking your water. Stretching. Okay, so what I do is I will grab the top of a door. If I can reach it, great. And then I hang on to the frame and just then let my weight go down. So I'm stretching that way. If I can't reach it, I still stretch up and pretend I'm reaching it. And that helps. Like while you're in the chair, and you can stretch this way, you can stretch that way, you can do yoga in your chair. You can cross your legs. So cross one leg over the other, and then bend all the way down and as far as down as you can go and stay there, then cross the other leg, do the same thing. So there's a lot of different stretching things that you can do. You can do circles, you can do circles in your arms. You can do this. You can stretch your neck, that way. You can massage your hands and your wrists. So do stretching while you're in the chair. If you did the stretching every day, several times a day while you're sitting in the chair, and then made a note of how long each one takes, you'd be shocked at how much stretching you did for the entire day while you were there. But just do some stretching, move around. The other thing that you can do too, one of these days I might do this with you, but I'm not going to do it right now. The other thing you could do is you could stand up. You can stand up like okay. So even before that, you could just, while you're sitting here, you could do push-ups. You could, I mean, if you're holding a phone old-fashioned way, that won't work. Hopefully you're not, because for self-care, you want to take care of your neck and, bending. So if you don't have a headset, you've got to get a headset, because that's part of self-care. But at any rate, you can do push-ups like this, right? I'm looking at you right now, but you can do push-ups. You can stand up again if you have the headset and do push-ups. Like really do push-ups other than being on the floor holding the desk, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Again, yoga in your chair, that kind of thing. You can have some weights at your desk, small hand weights, and you can be doing this. So these are things that you can do in the moment while you're on the call. They don't know that. Before the call, after the call, all day long, every day. Self-care. The other thing that you can do for self-care is ask for help. Okay, so you don't need to go through the stress that you're going through as an intake specialist, the most important position in the entire law firm, alone. You don't. You can get help from a neighbor, a teammate. You can get help from a supervisor, a team leader, the manager, whatever role is there to support you. You can do it. You can ask for help. Most of us don't ask for help. There's a bunch of reasons for that, and we won't get into that right now. But regardless of the reason, you can ask for help. So you don't have to do this alone. Asking for help is a good way to get a reset, to do self-care, okay, to relieve yourself from whatever's going on at that moment, okay? Let's see. So we talked about stretching, help from a neighbor, positive visualization, right? So while you're on the phone with a prospective client, can you visualize? Yes. So what I teach you to do is I want you to, while you're talking to the prospective client, I want you to see them, imagine what they might look like, and see the accident that they're when they explain the accident and everything, just so that you can stay focused and present. But if you need a self-care moment, you can, instead of that, at that moment, you can just have a positive visualization. You're not going to likely close your eyes unless you can at that moment, because they're saying their story, and maybe you weren't typing at that particular moment. I don't know. I can't say for sure unless I'm sitting next to you. But my point is, you can visualize. Maybe you have a picture on your desktop or right in front of you of something that you want to go to visualize at that moment to help you in that particular moment. Maybe that's how you do positive visualizing. Obviously, you could do it before a call and after a call. During the call, you still can do it. This is all a practice. It takes time, all of this, but you have to lean forward and start doing it. But right now, while I'm talking to you, if I was doing an intake and I needed a moment, I might visualize seeing myself taking deep breaths, even if I'm not doing it. I might visualize myself, for 4 seconds, seeing my dog at the end of the day. So the act of doing is bigger and more powerful than anything. And don't worry about, oh, that doesn't sound like it's going to work. Just do it. Just lean forward and do it. This is self-care for you. Nobody else can do this for you. Your boss, your manager, the managing partner, the CEO, the attorneys, they can't do this for you. You've got to do it for yourself. And you deserve to do it for yourself. Okay? All right, let's see what else we have here. Mindfulness. Mindfulness. So this is really like one of the best ways to provide self-care to yourself is staying focused and present in that moment. So when you're on the call, disciplining yourself, and again, this is all a practice. It doesn't happen overnight. Disciplining yourself to be in the call, to be on the call and in the call with that person, like teleporting yourself into the call with that person, being all in on the call, giving everything that you have to the call so that you can hear and feel and see everything that's really going on with the call. The more you're putting your energy into that practice, the higher likelihood you're going to diffuse a lot of these other things that can happen, because all of your strength and your energy and your mental, emotional power is in the call with the person. So focused on them, not all the other things that can get in your way. But it can help reduce anxiety. It can help reduce stress. Again, I'm trying to give you things that I do, many people do, anybody can do. You can do it in the moment as well as before and after, but mostly I'm trying to focus on the moment. And being focused and present is one of the biggest challenges in life. Okay. All right, let's see what else. I have a couple of more that I can mention here until next time. So, okay, the other note I had is pay attention to your workspace area. Do you need to do something different? Can you do something different? Do you need to ask for help to do something different? Is it not laid out in a way that works for you, who you are? Or is it just laid out the way everybody is? I know that you might not have the power to do that, but you don't know till you try. What can you control? This is all about what can you control. Don't create a list of, well, I want to do these things, and they're all the things you can't control. Don't do that. Just create a list of things that you can do to control your environment, your area, your desk area, how it looks, if it's clean, if there's 8 million pieces of paper. This is your space. What do you need to do differently? So those are some ideas on identifying when these red flags are happening, knowing it's okay, it's normal. It's not like, here I go again, what's wrong with me? It's normal, it's okay for everybody. And then this is really a short list of practical things that you can do. Okay, there's definitely a lot more than that, but I didn't really want to get in too deep right now. So this is Chris Mullins with Chris Mullins Tells All and intake specialist chatbot self-care, and Chris Mullins intake specialist self-care strategies. Till next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.